Hello everybody, this is Generaljannis again with a Death Guard Tactics video. This time I will be talking about the ranged weapon options for the Plague Marines and offer a statistical analysis of which weapon does the most damage. And before I get started, I would like to say thanks to all the people commenting on the videos and for your good comments and for subscribing to the channel. It's nice to see that other people than me also like spreadsheets. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So let's talk about the Plague Marines ranged weapon options. Um, the standard ranged weapon for the Plague Marines is the bolter weapon. And we have the possibility to give up to 2 Plague Marines in the squad can replace their bolter with either a choice of Blight Launcher, Plasma Gun, Melta Gun, Plague Spewer, or the Plague Belcher. So and also the Plague Champion can additionally take a Plasma Gun. He cannot take the other options. He could also take a Plasma Pistol, but in this analysis I'm just looking at the Plasma Guns. And so which of the weapons are best to take for the Plague Marines? And in this analysis, I disregarded the Plague Belcher because it has rather similar stats as the Bolter. So with that, let's have a look at the various options and see which weapon could be declared the winner. So in this table is a summary of the Plague Marine weapons option, and we can see that the standard bolter has a points cost of 0, so it's the standard weapon. We have all the other options that I'm analyzing: the Blight Launcher, the Plasma Gun, the Melta Gun, and the Plague Spewer. They have a points cost of 10, so it's the same regardless of the weapon. If we see at the type of weapons, it's good to keep in mind that the Death Guard inexorable advance ability is a good thing here because it gives no penalties of moving and shooting heavy weapons or advancing and shooting assault weapons. And additionally, it gives also double shots for rapid fire weapons at 18 inch rather than half range only. So this is good news for all the weapons in this list. So first of all, we see that the Blight Launcher is a assault 2 weapon. The Plasma Gun is rapid fire 1 weapon. The Melta Gun is assault 1 weapon. The Plague Spewer is a heavy D6 with auto hit, basically a flamer, and the Bolter is a rapid fire 1 weapon. The range is the long range weapons here are the Blight Launcher, the Plasma Gun, and the Bolter with 24 inches range. The Melta Gun is only 12 inch, and the Plague Spewer has the shortest range with 9 inch. If we look at the range for double shots, as I said, with the inexorable advance, the Plasma Gun and the Bolter get, because they are rapid fire weapons, they start shooting double shots already at 18 inches. Additionally, the Malicious Volleys ability gives Bolter weapons double shots at 24 if the Plague Marine unit doesn't move. And finally, if we have a range for extra damage for Melta Guns, if the Melta Gun is within if the target is within half the range, in this case 6 inches, the rules are like that. Currently, that in half range we roll 2 dice for the damage and select the highest, but probably we'll also be having the upcoming rules for Melta, like for Space Marines. Has been discussed that in half range, instead of 2d6 and selecting the highest, it will be d6 plus 2 damage. But in this analysis, I have used the current rules. So if we see the Blight Launcher and the Plague Spewer are plague weapons, the other options are not. And here we have the strength, the AP, and the damage of the weapons. Yeah. So we see that the strength of the Blight Launcher is 6. The Plasma Gun has 2 modes. In standard mode it has a strength 7, but in supercharged mode it has a strength 8. The Meltagun is strength 8, the Plague Spear 5, and the Bolter is only 4. The AP, the highest AP are the Plasma Gun with -3 and the Meltagun with -4. The Blight Launcher has -2, Plague Spear -1, and the Bolter doesn't have any AP. And we see the Blight Launcher has a D3 damage. Standard Plasma Gun has 1 damage, while the Supercharged gives 2 damage. That might also change with upcoming rules. And the Meltagun, as I said, is D6, but at half range it's 2d6 and you select the highest. Plague Spear 1 and the Bolter only 1. Comparing the total cost, so a Marine with Bolter costs 18 points, but if you then choose a special weapon for this Marine, the cost is increased to 28 points. In the next table, I'm looking at the different ranges and with the weapon types and all these abilities, what does it mean for the number of shots? So if the Plague Marines have been advancing, then of course, if the target is farther away than 24 inches, no weapons can shoot. If the target is between 12 and 24 inches, only the Blight Launcher can shoot, but it can still shoot two shots. And if the target is within 12 inches, then the Meltagun can also shoot. So Meltagun and Blight Launchers are the only assault weapons, and they are the only ones that can shoot while advancing. For normal move, we see the table here, and basically the Blight Launcher gives double shots at maximum range. The Blight Launcher, Plasma Gun and the Bolter get also 2 shots at after 18 inches, and the Meltagun can shoot at 12 inches, and the Plague Spear can only shoot within 9 inches. And with the Malicious Volleys, if the unit stands still, the Bolter can shoot. The only difference is that the Bolter can shoot twice at the full range, up to 24 inches. So let's continue on and start shooting on some targets. The first target we will be shooting at is an Intercessor. So this target has a toughness 4 and a 3+ save. And we're assuming that he's not in cover. And in the base case, we are assuming no rerolls to hit for the Plague Marines, and the Plague Weapons, of course, reroll automatically the ones to wound. The damage per shot is capped at 2 because the Intercessor will be killed after 2 wounds. So the Meltagun, for example, even if it rolls a high damage, it's considered to have caused maximum of 2 wounds. So in this part of the table, we see the damage on average per shot. So for the different weapons, we have the possibility with per shot how many shots are hitting, how many shots are wounding, how many wounds are not being armor saved by the Intercessor, and then how much damage is scored. And on the right side here, we see that what is the actual result, taking into the factor the number of shots based on the distance. So for example here, the average damage per shot for the Blight Launcher would be 0.58 wounds, but the weapon has 2 shots, so on average it will be doing 1.15 wounds per shot. For the 2 shots it's doing in this range. And similarly for the other weapons. So some quick results we can see from here is that the Blight Launcher gives a better result compared to the Plasma Gun in standard mode for all distances here for this target. The Plasma Gun with Supercharge has a good better damage output than the Blight Launcher. However, with a supercharge, there is of course if you hit a roll a 1 to hit, the model is slain. So this is a quite high risk, 16% risk. So this requires basically a reroll to be viable tactic. The melta gun can do some good damage at close range, and the plague spear also does very good damage, but it has to be really at a close range to do anything significant. But we can also see that the bolter gun does significantly lower damage than all other weapons, so it's quite a difference from 0.1 wounds to here. The best option would be at long range the blight launcher with 1.1, so it's like a factor of 5 to 10 depending on the best option here. If we see on this slide, I have added for this target the effects of rerolls per shot. So here we are looking at the base case per shot from the previous table, shooting at the intercessor, adding the reroll once to hit improves, of course, basically all the weapons. But of course, the plague spear has an auto hit, so it's not affected by the reroll once. And here we can see that all weapons are improved with a reroll once to hit compared on the base case. And now with a reroll 1 to hit, the risk of the plasma misfiring and killing your model goes down from 1 to 6 to 1 per 36. So it would be rerolling a 1 and getting a 1 again. It's a 1 to 36 chance, so it's a 2.7% risk. However, if we factor in that we could have, for example, 2 models with a plasma gun shooting 2 shots each, then we would have around 10% risk that at least one model will be slain every shooting round, and 10% could happen. It's not completely completely improbable. And then the next here is if we have a what will the damage be if we have an Arch Contaminator aura from a Death Guard Warlord? And we can see that it benefits, of course, only the plague weapons, the Blight Launcher and the Plague Spewer. And here we see the damage output if we add both reroll ones to hit and the Arch Contaminator, of course, increasing the performance compared to the base case across the board. Continuing shooting at the next target would be a Terminator type infantry, so a target with typically a toughness 5, a 3+ save with a 4+ invul save, and having 3 wounds. So for this target, it's interesting to see here we have the damage on average per shot, and here we have taking into account all shots that the weapon can do. The Blight Launcher gives the best damage. So basically here normally for the intercessors the plasma and melta guns got a benefit over the Blight Launcher because they offered a high AP, but for a model with an invul save, then the AP doesn't make a big difference, and here the Blight Launcher gives the best damage output. And of course, the bolter starts faring even worse than the intercessor target because now it needs it has a difficult to wound roll from strength 4 to toughness 5. Continuing to the next target, here it will be a predator target or a similar toughness 7 enemy with a 3+ save and assuming no cap on the wounds. So with the high wound models like the tanks and monsters, they have quite high wounds, and then for example a Melta could potentially do a 6 wound against such a target if rolling high enough on the damage dice. So for this target we can see per shot and then the results for each shot. We are starting to see that the Blight Launcher starts to struggle a bit. So now the Blight Launcher has only a strength 6 versus the toughness 7, giving it only a 5+2 wound, but it's still better than the standard plasma gun. And the reason for this is that the the standard plasma gun is scoring more wounds than the blight launcher, but the damage is higher because for the blight launcher because it has a D3 damage versus a just a 1 damage, and it also has the play weapon reroll. Supercharged plasma and the meltagun are the best options. So the supercharged they give around 1.5 damage on average. The meltagun can do 2 damage on average if the target is within half its range. So, but again, we have to be close with the meltagun to the enemy to even hit it. And of course, Bolter continues to drop its performance, and the Plague Spear is also struggling to do any significant damage. Continuing now with even higher toughness targets like the Land Raider. So here a target with toughness 8 and a 2+ armor save. Here we see for the target with toughness 8, it's probably doesn't make sense to try to shoot with a bolter weapon. So with a strength 4 weapon, it requires a 6 to wound and no AP, basically gives negligible damage. The meltagun at the closest range makes the most damage as expected. The supercharged plasma still does some decent damage, but again, the blight launcher is still better than the standard plasma. So in this slide, we have the summary of the resulting damage for at different ranges for the different targets. So first, if we look at the long range, let's say between 18 and 24 inches, then the blight launcher has more or less the best damage, except against the Predator, in which the supercharged plasma gun is a bit higher damage. If we look at 12 to 18 inch range, the supercharged plasma has the best damaged output, except against the Terminator with the Invul save. And at close range, we see that for the vehicles or the high toughness targets, the meltagun is the best option for damage, but with the supercharged plasma gun quite close. Again, the Terminator with the Invul save, the Blight Hauler does best, and for the intercessors, the supercharged plasma gun is the best option. So, concluding, special weapons give much improved damage output compared to the bolters. So for a cost increase from 18 to 28 points, that's 55% cost increase, the damage output will increase 5 to 10 times or even more on some occasions. That's 500 to 1000%. So definitely worth it unless you are only planning to go for a melee squad of Plague Marines. The Blight Launcher is the clear winner at longer ranges and for advancing the otherwise slow Plague Marines. The Blight Launcher is always the better option compared to a non-supercharged plasma gun, regardless of the target in this analysis. Blight Launcher is giving, of course, better results against infantry targets with a relatively low toughness, but can still deal some damage to high toughness targets. Additionally, it's a plague weapon, allowing for synergies. The supercharged plasma gun is potentially the best option at medium ranges. However, you need to make sure to always have the reroll once to hit to avoid a high risk for a model to be slain. But still, if we take the maximum number of plasma guns, that would be 2 for the squad and 1 plasma gun for the champion, shooting double supercharged shots, there will still be a 2.7% times 6. That's a 16% risk that at least one model will be slain per shooting round. And of course, if you cannot have the reroll once to hit, then the standard plasma gun will always be inferior to the Blight Launcher in this analysis. The meltaguns are the best option versus vehicle or other high toughness targets, but you must come at very close range, which is not always practical, and maybe therefore it's mainly for me a situational weapon rather than an all-round option. Of course, if you are facing some targets which have monsters that will be coming at you only armed with melee, maybe you can use the melta guns as the monsters come closer. But again, it's a bit situational. Plague Spear has the shortest range and does not provide, in any case, the best damage output. So finally, the winner is, I would say, for the most all-round benefit and based also on the analysis and my experience on the tabletop, my choice for the winner would be 2 Plague Marines with Blight Launchers and adding the champion, giving the plasma gun to the champion. In any case, the plasma gun is always better than a bolter. And this basically concludes my video. If you like this video, you can hit the like button. If you have some other ideas or some other ideas for targets or some of your own thoughts of which weapon are best for the Plague Marines, please leave a comment. And if you are interested in more Death Guard tactics, please subscribe to my channel. So Generaljannis signing out, and stay safe out there.